I'm going to try to keep this video short and simple because I'm not a theologian. I don't know a lot about the Nephilim in general, but I do know some, and I just want to sum up the story because I like talking about the Bible and the things inside it, and I haven't done a lot of videos like this. So, we're going to start at the beginning of the Nephilim story, and we're going to go to what might be the end, and then I want to discuss a theory at the very end of the video that is related to them. So we know the Nephilim started when the fallen angels came to Earth and had sex with the human women, and then created the Nephilim, who were the actual giants on the Earth. They live on for a while until eventually God says, no, this is enough. I'm going to kill everything on this planet except for 2 of each animal that can't survive in a bunch of water. And I'm going to have 1 family survive through this flood, and they will be the kind of like new Adam and Eve. And the family's already established, it's just they're going to be the surviving family. And we're honestly more closely related to Noah than we are Adam and Eve when you think about it. It's very interesting. I just thought of that before. So that's kind of like the middle. This is the middle point of the Nephilim story, but it's not the end, surprisingly. Even though God erases all of the Nephilim life on the earth, something happens after the flood, or there's something that might have happened during it. So there are 3 theories. 1 which is obviously false, 2 which both make sense. I'm going to give you guys the one that obviously doesn't make sense first. Some people believe that the Nephilim climbed up to the top of mountains and survived the flood and maybe swam a little bit. Well, that just can't be true. Okay, think about this. The Bible says the water covered the entire earth, the entire face of the earth. So that means that they didn't climb to the top of a mountain. All the mountains were covered. Most of the mountains probably weren't there at that point when you really think about it. The earth was probably a lot more flat. We know there's a lot less water on the surface of the earth. So we know that much. But there are 2 other theories. So, the first theory that I want to mention is the one I don't believe in but makes sense. It could have been that the Nephilim were recreated as fallen angels, just did the same thing again. It seems stupid, but it could have happened. You'd think that they would have shown up a lot more, the same amount, if not more, as they did in Genesis, but they didn't, apparently. They do show up later in the Bible though, which is why we know they still existed after the flood. The one I believe in is the idea that one of Noah's son's wives was not supposed to come on that ark, because we know Noah's family, like actual related family by blood, we know that they were not supposed to. They didn't have any Nephilim DNA. There's a reason why God chose Noah. He was still faithful, he didn't have that evil DNA, blood, whatever stuff. But he was not, none of them were related by blood to their wives. Perhaps one of them married the wrong woman. God told them don't bring him on, or don't bring her on, and they still did it. Maybe, who knows? But God can't make us do anything. We always have a choice. So there's a good chance God didn't want her to be on that ark, but she still ended up on it, and that's how they came back. That's what I believe happened, because it makes the most sense to me. It's a continuous story, it just makes sense. So, anyways, something happened at this in-between point. That's what I believe happened. Time goes on. We know that there were already... Okay, here's something interesting that kind of supports that theory. The Bible does say, I don't remember his name, but Noah's grandson led like an army, like a city, nation of people. Because, people lived a lot longer at that time, hundreds of years in that earlier time in the Bible. So, an entire nation is built in just 1 generation in between the 2. Noah's probably already dead, but his grandson does lead a nation. And the Bible says that he was a mighty man. This doesn't mean he was a giant, but it also could. There's another figurative speech later on when some people believe they're Nephilim, where the spies from Israel are visiting like Moab or something, I don't remember which country, and they say that we were grasshoppers in the sight of them. This also is figurative and might not mean that they were giants. This could just mean, they had a great army, and there's like 5 of us watching, and it was scary, and we were like grasshoppers in the sight of them. That would make sense, but it would also make sense to be like, oh, they were so much taller than us, and we were grasshoppers in the sight of them. So either way, it makes sense. Those 2 scenarios don't prove Nephilim returning, but there is one. There are 2 actually. Number 1, Agog, king. This is editor Micah coming back after reading this. It's actually Og. I don't remember what Agog is. It's something in the Bible, but it's Og was this king who was huge. He had like 13 foot longer cubit something long bed. It's Og, just to be clear. Sorry for the misinformation. His name was Og. Of somewhere, I don't remember the name. They take over this country, the city, when the Israelites are conquering all the cities in the Promised Land. That's a giant right there. And then after that, we have the most famous giant of the Bible, Goliath. Obviously, new David movie comes out. We all got Goliath in our minds. I didn't watch the new David movie yet, but obviously he's in it. It's about David. He's got to be in there somewhere. So, we have those 2 giants that prove giants. Maybe not Nephilim. I believe there's a name for them. It might be like Anachorites or something like that. But there are giants returning in the Bible. So, how did they get there? I already explained what I believe, but again, you can choose your theory, you can make up your own, but it doesn't really matter in the end. It's just a theory. A Bible theory, not that.
Thanks for watching.
I'm joking. So, anyways, we know that much, okay? We know that some form of Nephilim giants returned, and where they end is not actually stated. We don't know when the Nephilim ended. We don't know if they still live on the earth in some form. We know there are giants on the earth, but they never live any older than like 30 years old. They always have health problems, like heart problems, because their body's so big, their heart isn't big enough to support their system. It's not like their body is designed to be that big. It's like a malfunction in their body, unfortunately. It's like a disease to be a giant now. Back then, it was like giving you great strength. So I don't think that those people are Nephilim. I think that's something totally different that shouldn't exist. And neither should the Nephilim, I guess. So whatever, you can argue that. I believe that Goliath was one of the last of his kind. One of the last giants. Maybe not the last, but one of them. And I believe probably David and his men and so on and so forth went on to kill most of the giants, and they just died out over time. I think that's what happened. We can all pick and choose what we want to think about this stuff, because again, it's not crucial to our salvation or anything very important about the religion, but it is good to know the Bible well. And so that's what I believe about it. But that is basically the story of the giants of the Bible, the Nephilim. There's one last thing I wanted to share, and it's related to the pyramids of Giza. Now, I don't mean to be some sort of conspiracy theorist, but it makes sense. This is what I think. This is how I think the pyramids of Giza were built. I think that one of 2 things happened. I obviously believe the Nephilim built them. I mean, have you seen the size of those bricks? They're way too big for anyone to have put them together beside a giant. Now here is where you kind of have to pick or choose one of the 2 choices if you believe in the theory of the Nephilim building them. Did the Nephilim build them for themselves? Or did they build them for the Egyptians? Were they working for the Egyptians in slavery or being paid? We don't really know. I mean, we know that the Nephilim ate people. Maybe the Egyptians were like giving them Israelites to eat. I don't know. There's a chance. Who knows? The Israelites might have been making the bricks, but there's no way they were moving these bricks, putting them up there. There's just no way. But Nephilim definitely at least took the bricks and put them together. It just makes sense. These guys were huge. They were probably the ones who built this stuff. Again, you gotta choose one of the 2 possibilities if you believe in this theory. Personally, I think they probably made them for the Egyptians, considering that those hallways, I've never seen a giant hallway in there, and there are like Egyptian paintings on them. But I think I did hear someone say that they were not actually tombs. They weren't actually tombs for the Egyptians, which I don't know if that's true, but it's possible. Who knows? Anyways, thank you guys for watching. This has been the history of the Nephilim. I will see you in my next video. Peace.